Today we will start once again with the Bodhisattva Charyavatara after many months. And to do more an introduction than an actual explanation of the text, because if we go directly to the point of the text where we have stopped the last time, it would be quite difficult for people to catch up, so we will go back. But before we start with that, we'll just do the Guru Puja until the part of the Tsok. Okay. Verse number 1, verso numero 1. Dece ngale rani lama kande selve kule ve serzo cho 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 pe ne cho chi la pe yen dengi
Sala Kabracha, E Chirto Lam Samo Lama Lai, Ne Jonyam Su Lam Varaki, Om Ahum. Om Ahum. Om Ahum. Omo Yeshe La Namba Nanjada. pende malu chunghe goju bu jetsun lame shabla chatselo harche temba sangye kunge ngo Hazo kunge una lange wa tinche lama namla chatselo tusum chojuru shupe lama da tinche chosum chatselo teche mebe tuyan getso che shindu nyambe ludru chatselo kyabkun chetsun lama korchela natso chetin getso Cheba Nayale Dache Dutsi Chushi Degiba Dombo Sima Tenwa Pelepa Tsebe Medo Sada Banaka Tishin Pegi Duba Bendurye Yarke Mumbo Chingi Lalanti Nida Norbo Rabgara Tometso Tonsum Mese Vese Tsegako Rabo Tsende Kurkun Trigope Pechun Soje Koryo Kuneki Roge Chuden Saja Tonada Lada Mi Shase Lumbopo Natso Romo Chira Taele Sodra Tiro Rekte Jinanjaya Hame Chukunga Sashe Pege Chushi Medora Rira Lishi Nide Gimbadi Sangye Shindo Mikde Huargi Drogu Namda Shinla Cheparash Chewa Trage Lishe Lumbro Che Rinchen Dinda Nyewe Rinchen So Kunga Gebe Nuchu Pinson So Lami Loncho Dugu Terchembu Lawe Simgi Puchun Shingi Cho Kyabkun Tuje Chen La Ulwaragi Yedam Guru Ranam Lala Mosha Yedra Yishin Gatso Mo Sishi Namkara Leo Chunzengi Dado Gebe Kunge Yedra Shin Jigden Lede Ranshingi Gebe Medo Chiantra Quinsan Chebe Triso Bumdro Shin Lapso Rimye Lange Drendepe Gazen Jetso Namla Nyechibu Urgon Dande Sambo Tinge Che Roge Pezin Geche Tuadam Chagyo Mada Barwe Disi Gatso Cho Iwon Dewe Yeshe Che Chogo Ranshin Dondan Dewe Yerme Lundro Masam Chole Chancho Simcho Kyola Yomo Shiga Tsashi Nejobe Sambo Mingi Chera Natsoda Kene Gichira Daden Bulana Namkara Jesim Baso Sundos Tome Dune Mige Dikpele Gidan Gitse Yiran Chichipa Tuje Chendren Chengar Gyosimgi Shakshin Lenche Migi Domban Chena Rashe Tsema Dandreya Milam Jishin Keba Tamchegi Dega Chirya Charwe Namkarala Dacha Samba Tape Irano Pulchon Kense Chunzin Bumdrete Taye Drodi Pende Kundese Keda Yundu Neda Pewe Chir Sabge Choge Charba Abduso Dorje Kula Kechik Mingaya Sunjo Wange Jishin Sidebar Yange Mida Tabra Shususo Dedara Trumbe Namkara Gevetso Kadrin Sumden Jesun Lama Rame Jezinchi Dorje Chanwa Topchir Yende June Turin Gatso Che Mando Norbo Tsogi Yonsotam Orme Zimba Tonga Nibeche Neden Dua Zila Sowade Kandan Dena Devra Shekpe Lam Tembra Bebe Yunden Chudempa Malu Galwe Dutson Chogiche Tekcho Gewe Shela Sowade Gosum Ledam Lochen Sodendra Yodan Gyume Nadan Gyusheshin Teni Chusun Ridan Chekepe Dorche Zimbe Sola Sowade Sangye changme chembe madurwe maron doge nikto drowala deshe lamsa jishin tembai kyabgon toje chenla sawade tugi nukyurate gongya mebe drowa mambola Yahweh tseba nyora drutsepe kyabgon toje chenla sawade Gyawa tamche Babu boga chitsaya Daja sanam shindu lengape kyabgon tuje chenla sawade Kusung gengi kordoani tabge gyudru drawe chuge Deshe ringa yabyo Towa wako ranshi chotonzi Dami lama shola sawade Kunge yeshe rakaya yume Kiko kono yewa damide Tinge kyabda doje zingeso Sunju nampo kola sawade Jime lenge gawe rubada Yerme teyo kungya kungida Kunsan tendamgi Chancho sema kyola sawade Kyuni lama kyuni yidam kyuni kanro chekyonte tene sonte chancho bardu kyumi kyavshe mitsorwe Didam pardo cimetaria tuje unzola si shijinjol modru kunzo tengi drozo acho Kyuni lama, kyuni yidam, kyuni kanro chekyonte, tene sonte chancho pardo, kyomin kyavshe mitsolve. Didam pardo cimetaria toje chagyu sonzola si shijidrol modru kunzo tengi drozo acho Namle chik chara chung ne dani ki ne sun rim dan chik chara timpale drip shi tak chi nam da wang shi top ko shi top chi lama ni ba shi ge shin timpe jingi la pare gyu.
Okay, we go to verse 84.
Shincho tamba chetsun lama la chechin kwebe sowa tabe tu dele tsawa gombo kyoni gi geshin chesun tsimbra jingelo lenche tsamshi niebe del giuradi niega nyurdo jikbe sultone tome tsedi chawe mie war tende nimbo lembra jingelo ngeson dunge barwe mejigne ningne kuncho sumla kyamdroshi Digbo angetso tada druba la tsomba lulen chebra jingelo Traudu dru dunge sumge chuse mambo tse Tame jiro sitso chimbo le tardo shudra kiawra jingelo Soga tsura drawe korwa di gawe tsiltara tongwe lobangne Lauson pabe norge zoson te tarpe genzen zimbra jingelo Nyamda drowa digun dagi ma yayan jingi kyangpe tsusamne Dukpe pola tsewe ma shintu chumi ninche kyora jingelo Dunge tramo tsamya midu ching dela namya chokshe mebra ni Dada shenla kebra yomish Midu dunga gebe gyurdone Ondo sunjete dazen denjen chumbra jingelo Kobe lo taye yunden chungwe gordone Rova dida dage tralanka sole chibra zimbra jingelo Randon kona da tuba shenden bashi zebai Davshe nyamshe nubra jingelo Kani chasi dupa tumigo, mayan chasi yonte tumishi, deche dache jewene jola, naleni poje patingiro, vena jetsuna matu jeche, malyudro veti tuneku, maluda kada la vipada, nadi de geshe la tawai, drogune da de patingiro, Dena jetsuna matu jeche, malu drowe di tumeku, malu data dalami pada, dari de keshe ratawari, drogume dante pagino, dena jetsuna Lama tu jeche, malu drowe di tumeku,
malu data dalami pada, dari de keshe ratawari, drogume dante pagino, Nushuti pedro voyantante, Niko duke chata pakutia, Vegedre prose pedutone, Geme landuro pachigelo, Dona samena vashishaya, Shukru Niko,
Tomge nyamlengi, Semni peve lamgurute tsu,
Vashigo pachigelo, Yovashita de peta cheki, De la natuno la giovada, Rojo da sida plena leghi, de giodo c'è che pagino, Nolelo la che preto dece, Ciarani gela per sampari,
Dona zizo cele drobereci, Semni chonra jingelo,
Sogno ma cunibio cila, Nana che sedo per giudaci, Perciò su trizo che nella,
Tsomba lulen chebra jingelo, Nzo tu sumge so che, Simche raran debe ngogurute, Chame ton sempe we mengagi, Chimbe parchin zobra jingelo,
Soprattutto senza dato pari, c'è sasso di ceramicoci, che c'è di danza in cielo d'oca,
parchin zobra jingelo, Kamsun Kegu Malu Trugurute Shishin Sandro Dikshin Sojoka Midro Nole Pemba Drujepe Sebe Parchin Zopra Jingilo Edele Chiriana Mebe
Sena Pepa Yazzo Degokyo Yire Mikyo Shanshu Chazonpe Sodro Pace Zopra Jingilo
Tombe Nelo La Tseci Nambra Chube Kunzi Samden Parchin Zopra Jingilo Shinjan De Chenda Zopra Jingilo Mibani penso game trosso charwai loro quando dobra jingelo Senta Zangya Lame Povanye Tonga Yanda Charve Damagi Tabe Shindu Drabra Jingelo Keshin Kewa Tamchetu Pongkosha Jesum Rua Jingelo Kando Mombra Sangye Pe Korge Toma Nido Thagyurate Mega Tartu Gundu Malupa Beme Lungi Drupe Tashi
Okay, so now we do the mantra of Ushnisha Vichaya as Rinpoche told us to do yesterday, at least 3 times.
Oya Chalse Deshin Shepe Tsu Tora Taye Nambra Gyalve Chema Malu Paru Jimba Tope Gyalve Seche Shintu Tema Om Brum Soha Om Amrita Ayurdate Soha Om Drum Soha Om Amrita Ayurdate Soha Om Brum Soha Om Amrite Ayurdate Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Sarva Trilokya Prati Visheshataya Buddhayate Nama Tayata Om Brum 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 Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Asama Samanta Avama Svarana Gati Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Abhishinchantu Mam Sarotata Gata Sugata Varavachana Amrita Abhishekera Mahamudra Mantra Pade Ahara Ahara Mama Ayo Sandarani Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Ushnisha Vijaya Parishuddhe Sahasra Rasmi Sanshodite Sarova Tathagata Avalokini Shat Paramita Paripurani Sarotata Gata Mate Dasha Bhumi patishtite sarva tatagata hridaya adishtana adishtite mudre mudre maha mudre vajrakaya samatan Parishuddhe sarva karma avarana vishuddhe patirina vartaya mama ayu vishuddhe sarva tatagata samaya adishtana adishtite om muni muni maha muni vi muni maha vi muni Mati mati maha mati mamati sumati tatata buddha koti parishuddhe visputa buddhishuddhe he he jaya jaya vijaya smara smara spara spara sparaya sparaya Sarva Buddha Adhishtana Adhishtit Shuddhe Shuddhe Buddhe Buddhe Vajre Vajre Maha Vajre Su Vajre Vajra Garbe Jaya Garbe Vijaya Garbe Vajra Chalaya Garbe Vajro Parve Vajra Sambhave Vajre Varini Vajraram Bhavantu mama sariram sarva sattvanam cha kaya parishud Bhavantu me sada sarva gati parishudesha sarva tatagatesha mam samasvasayantu buddhaya buddhaya siddhya siddhya Bodheya, Bodheya, Vishodaya, Vishodaya, Mochaya, Mochaya, Vimochaya, Vimochaya, Shodaya, Shodaya, Vishodaya, Vishodaya, Samantana, Mochaya, Mochaya, Samantana, Rasmi, Parishut, Sarva Tatagata, Hridaya, Adhishtana Adhishtite Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Maha Mudra Mantra Pade Soham Omo Namo Bhagavate Sarvate Lokya Pradivishitya Shaya Tayam Buddhayate Nama Tayata Om Brum 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 Shodaya Shodaya, Vishodaya, Vishodaya, Asma Samanta, Avabhava, Paranagati, Kagana, Swabhava, Vishuddhe, Abhishinchantu, Mam, Sarva Tatagata, Sugata, Varavachana, Amrita, Abhishekera, Mahamudra mantra pade ahara ahara mama ayo sandarani shodaya shodaya vishodaya vishodaya khagana swabhava vishuddhe ushnisha vijaya parishuddhe sahasra rasmi sanshodite sarva tatagat Avalokini She Paramita Paripurani Sarva Tatagata Mate Dasha Bhumi Patashtite Sarva Tatagata Hridaya Adhishtana Adhishtite Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Vajrakaya Samantana Parishud Sarva Karma Avarana Vishuddhe Pratinivartaya Mama Ayur Vishuddhe Sarva Tatagata Samaya Adhishtana Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Vi Muni Maha Vi Muni Mati Mati Maha Mati Mamati Sumati Tatata Buddha Koti Parishuddhe Visputa Buddhishuddhe He He Jaya Jaya Vijaya Vijaya Smara Smara Spara Spara Sparaya Sparaya Sarva Buddha Adishtan Adishtite Shuddhe Shuddhe Buddhe Buddhe Vajre Vajre Maha Vajre So Vajre Vajra Garbe Jaya Garbe Vijaya Garbe Vajra Javala Garbe Vajro Baba Vajre Sambhave Vajre Varini Vajraram Bhavantu Mama Shariram Sarva Sattva Nacha Kaya Parishuddher Bhavantu Me Sada Sarva Gati Parishuddhesha Sarva Tata Gatesha Mam Sama Vasayantu Buddhaya Buddhaya Siddheya Siddheya Bodhaya Bodhaya Vishodaya Vibodhaya Mochaya Mochaya Vimochaya Vimochaya Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Samantana Mochaya Mochaya Samantana Rasmi Parishud Sarva Tata Gata Hridaya Adishtana Adishtit Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Mantra Padis Omo Namo Bhagavate Sarvate Lokya Prati Visheshataya Buddhaya De Namatayata Om Brum 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 Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Asama Samanta Avaba Sparana Gati Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Abhishinchantu Mam Sarva Tathagata Sugata Varavachana Amrita Abhishekera Mahamudra Mantra Pade Ahara Ahara Mama Ayo Sandarani Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Ushnisha Vijaya Parishuddhe Sahasra Rasmi Sanchodite Sarva Tathagata Avalokini She Saranamita Paripurani Sarva Tathagata Mate Dashabu Pratishtite Sarva Tathagata Hridaya Adishtana Adishtite Mudre Maha Mudre Vajrakaya Samatana Parishuddhe Sarva Karma Avarana Vishuddhe Pratinivartai Mama Ayur Vishuddhe Sarva Tataga Samaya Adishtana Adishti Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Vimuni Vimuni Maha Vimuni Mati Mati Mahamati Mamati Sumati Tatata Buddha Koti Parishud Visputa Buddhispara He Jaya Jaya Sat Smara Smara Sparaya Spara Sparaya Sparaya Tishtana Adishtite Shuddhe Shuddhe Buddhe Buddhe Vajre Vajre Maha Vajre So Vajre Vajra Garbe Jaya Garbe Vijaya Garbe Vajra Javala Bhavantu Vajre Vajrini Vajram Bhavantu Mama Shariram Sarva Sattva Nacha Kaya Parishuddhe Bhavantu Me Sada Sarva Gati Parishuddhesha Sarva Tathagata Sha Ma Sama Vasayantu Buddhaya Buddhaya Siddhya Siddhya Bodhaya Bodhaya Vibodhaya Vibodhaya Mochaya Mochaya Vimochaya Vimochaya Shodhaya Shodhaya Vishodhaya Vishodhaya Samantana Mochaya Mochaya Samantana Rasmi Parishuddhe Sarvatata Adhishtana Adhishtite Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Maha Sloha Omoya Namo Bhagavate Sarvate Lokya Prati Vishashtaya Bodhayate Nama Tayata Om Brum 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 Shodhaya Shodhaya Vishodhaya Vishodhaya Asama Samanta Avaba Sparana Gati Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Abhishinchantu Mam Sarvatata Gata Sugata Varavachana Amrita Abhishekera Mahamudra Mandrapad Ahara Ahara Mama Ayo Sandara Shodhaya Shodhaya Vishodhaya Vishodhaya Khagana Svabhava Vishuddhe Ushnisha Vijaya Parishuddhe Sahasra Rasmi Sanchodit Sarva Tatagat Avalokini She Paramita Paripurani Sarva Tatagata Mat Dasha Bhumi Padishtite Sarva Tatagat Hridaya Adhishtana Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Vajrakaya Samanta Parishuddhe Sarva Karma Avarana Vishuddhe Pratini Vartaya Mama Ayur Vishuddhe Sarva Tatagata Samaya Adhishtana Adhishtite Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Vi Muni Vi Muni Maha Vi Muni Mati Mati Maha Mati Mamati Sumati Tatata Buddha Koti Parishuddhe Visputa Buddhishuddhe He He Jaya Jaya Vijaya Vijaya Smara Smara Spara Spara Sparaya Sparaya Sarva Buddha Adhishtana Adhishti Shuddhe Shuddhe Buddhe Buddhe Vajre Vajre Maha Vajre So Vajre Vajra Garbe Jaya Garbe Vijaya Garbe Vajra Javala Garbe Vajro Bhave Vajra Sambhave Vajre Vajrini Vajram Bhavantu Mama Shariram Sarva Sattva Namcha Kaya Parishuddhi Bhavantu Me Sada Sarva Gati Parishuddhesha Sarva Tadagatesha Mama Sama Vajra Buddhaya Buddhaya Siddhaya Siddhaya Bodhaya Bodhaya Vibodhaya Vibodhaya Mochaya Mochaya Vimochaya Vimochaya Shodhaya Shodhaya Vishodhaya Vishodhaya Samantana Mochaya Mochaya Samanta Rasmi Parishuddhe Gata Hridaya Adhishtana Adhishtite Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Maha Mudra Mantra Padeso Omoya Namo Bhagavate Sarvate Lokya Prati Vishashtaya Buddhayate Nama Tayata Om Brum 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 Shodhaya Shodhaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Asama Samanta Avaba Sparana Gati Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Abhishinchantu Mam Sarva Tathagata Sugata Varavachana Amrita Abhishekera Mahamudra Mantrapat Ahara Ahara Mama Ayo Sandara Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Kagana Svabhava Vishuddhe Ushnisha Vijaya Parishuddhe Sahasra Rasma Sanchodi Sarva Tathagata Sarva Tathagata Mat Dasha Bhumi Pradishtite Sarva Tathagata Hridaya Adhishtana Adhishtit Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Vajraka Samatana Parishuddhe Sarvaka Avarana Vishuddhe Pratinivartai Mama Ayur Vishuddhe Sarva Tathagata Samaya Adhishtana Adhishti Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Vi Muni Vi Muni Maha Vi Muni Mati Mati Maha Mati Mamati Sumati Tatata Buddha Parishuddhe Visputa Bodhishuddhe He He Jaya Jaya Vijaya Vijaya Smara Smara Spara Spara Sparaya Sparaya Sarva Buddha Adhishtana Adhishti Shuddhe Shuddhe Buddhe Buddhe Vajre Vajre Maha Vajre Su Vajre Vajra Gar Jaya Garbe Vijaya Garbe Vajra Jevala Garbe Vajro Barbe Vajra Sambhave Vajra Vajrini Vajram Bhavantu Mama Shariram Sarva Sattvanam Cha Kaya Parishuddhir Bhavantu Me Sada Sarvagata Parishuddhesha Sarva Tathagatesha Mam Sama Vasayantu Buddhaya Buddhaya Siddhya Siddhya Bodhaya Bodhaya Vibodaya Vibodaya Mochaya Mochaya Vimochaya Vimochaya Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Samantara Mochaya Mochaya Samantara Rasmi Parishuddhe Sarva Tathagata Hridaya Adhishtana Adhishtite Mudre Mahamudre Mahamudra Mantra Padeso Omoya Namo Bhagavate Sarvatelokya Prati Visheshtaya Buddhayate Nama Tayata Om Brum 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 Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Asama Samanta Ababa Sparana Gati Kagana Sobhava Vishuddhe Abhishinchantu Mam Sarva Tathagata Sugata Vajra Vachana Amrita Abhishekera Mahamudra Ahara Ahara Mama Ayo Sandara Shodaya Shodaya Vishodaya Vishodaya Kagana Svabhava Vishuddhe Ushnisha Vijaya Parishud Sahasra Rasma Sanchodit Sarva Tathagata Avalokini Sha Paramita Paripurani Sarva Tathagata Mate Dasha Bhumi Pratishtit Sarva Tathagata Hridaya Adhishtana Mudre Mudre Mahamudre Vajrakaya Samatana Parishu Sarva Karma Avarana Vishuddhe pratinivartaya mama vishuddhe sarva tathagata samaya adhisthana adhishtite om muni muni mahamuni vimuni mahavimuni mati mamati sumati tatata buddha koti parishu visputa buddhishu de he jaya vijaya smara sparaya sarva buddha adhisthana adhishti shude bude vajra garbe jaya garbe vijaya garbe vajra jvala garbe vajro bhave vajra sambhave vajrini vajram bhavantu ma saviram sarva sattva cha kaya parishuddhe bhavantu me sada sarva gati parishuddhi cha sarva tathagatesha mam samavasayanto buddhaya siddhiya bodhaya vibodaya mochaya vimochaya shodaya vishodaya samantana mochaya samanta rasmi parishu sarva tathagata hridaya
adhisthana adhishtite mudre mahamudre mahapare
soha namo bhagavate sarva trilokya prativishastaya buddhayate nama tayata om brum shodaya vishodaya asama samanta avaba sparana gati kagana sobhava vishuddhe abhishinchantu mam sarva tathagata sugata varavachana amrita abhishekera mahamudra mantra pade ahara mama ayo sandara shodaya vishodaya khagana swabhava vishuddhe ushnisha vijaya parishuddhe sahasra rasmi sanchodite sarva tathagata avalokini shaparamita paripurani sarva tathagata mate dasha bhumi pratishti gata hridaya adhisthana adhishti mudre mahamudre vajrakaya samatana parishuddhe sarva karma avarana vishuddhe pratinivartai mama ayur vishuddhe sarva tathagata samaya adhisthana adhishtite om muni mahamuni vimuni mahavimuni mati mamati sumati tatata buddha koti parishuddhe visputa bodhishuddhe he jaya vijaya smara sparaya sarva buddha adhishtite shuddhe bude vajre mahavajre vajra garbe jaya garbe vijaya garbe vajra jivala garbe vajro bhave vajra sambhave Vajre Vajrini Vajram Bhavantu Mama Shariram Sarva Sattvanam Cha Kaya Parishuddhi Bhavantu Me Sada Sarva Gati Parishuddhi Sha Sarva Tathagata Sha Mam Sama Vasayantu Buddhaya Buddhaya Siddhiya Siddhiya Bodhaya Bodhaya Vibodhaya Vibodhaya Mochaya Mochaya Vimochaya Vimochaya Shodhaya Shodhaya Vishodhaya Vishodhaya Samanta Mochaya Mochaya Samanta Rasmi Parishud Sarva Tathagata Hridaya Adhishtana Adhishtite Mudre Mudre Maha Mudre Maha Mudra Mantra Padis Omo Brun Soha Om Amrita Ayurdate Soha Omo Brun Soha Om Amrita Ayurdate Soha Omo Brun Soha Om Amrite Ayurdate Soha Omo Brun Soha Amrita Ayurdate Som Brun Soha Amrita Ayurdate Som Brun Soha Amrita Ayurdate Som Brun Soha Amrita Ayurdate Dade Soha Om Brum Soha Om Amrite Ayurdate Soha Gewadi Nyurdoda Nambar Gyalme Drupgyurane Rowa Chikya Malupa Te Sala Kupara Shot Michiwe Tsema Towana Te mula namgyal maiku sewaratone chida pachomte chime rense nyurdo to parash chetsun lame kotse raptenchi namkara trile chochur gepada losan tembe dreme sasungi drove mense tatu Shi pege chushi meto chan rirav lingshin idek sangye shindo mikte uwargi Drogu namda shingla chuparash Yedam guru rana mandrala kam niryataya Sangye chedan sage chanamla Chanchu pardo dani kyapsuchi Dagi chushe gibe sonamgi Drola penchira sangye druparasho Sangye chedan sogi chonamla Chancho pardo dani kyapsuchi Dagi chushe gibe sonamgi Drola penchira sangye druparasho Sangye chedan sogi chonamla Chancho pardo dani kyapsuchi Dagi chushe gibe sonamgi Drola penchira sangye druparasho. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, I'm very happy today to once again come back to the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, this beautiful text that amazes me every time I read it. And we have been reading it already for quite some time together. Actually, last time we were reading one thing was last December, right? And then we were in the reading some parts on the chapter of wisdom. And we are actually almost in the last chapter. The last chapter is chapter number 10. We are now in chapter number 9. And but before we go through the text, I would like just to make a short introduction about it. This text, as most of you know, was written around 1,500 years ago. And for me personally, the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, it's really like a guidance. It's really like having a guide, having a friend that is hand by hand, guiding you, guiding me on the path, guiding me on the practice, on the correct way. Okay? So what happens to that is that the Bodhisattva Charyavatara was written around 1,500 years ago by one great master called Shantideva. Shantideva means the God of peace. Deva means God, but not God in the sense of what we understand like the Christian God. God in the sense of the Hindu God, like many gods of the realm of the God realm. So like a deity, no? And Shanti means peace. So it's like that's what's the meaning, literal meaning of his name. But Shantideva was a monk living at the monastery of Nalanda around 5,500 years ago. Nalanda, it has been one of the most important monasteries in the history of Buddhism. Really, it was like it was founded 200 years before Christ, around 300 years after the death of Buddha, by the great king Ashoka was the one that made it possible, and it became one of the most important centers of study in the whole Asia and at the time in the world. Okay. So we are talking about more than 2,000 years ago. I don't think in Europe we had any big center of study, like universities. Okay, there was in Egypt, and there was also this center in India. It was really very big. If we go until now, today, we can go there and see the archaeological, findings, what is remained there, which are there. Only the bases of the walls are there and some other walls are there. It was really, really big. So many rooms, you can still see the rooms where the monks used to live, the size, how the rooms were made, and the courtyards where they would study, and the prayer halls and the stupas. So many things are still there. It's really incredible. Incredible energy, everything else. But what have remained for us from Nalanda, even more than the archaeological parts, is the texts written by the great masters that grew up in Nalanda. It was such an important center of study. They would study
philosophy, medicine, astrology, all types of sciences that were available at the time, they were studied in Nalanda. But the most important one was Buddhism, philosophy. It was like the main subject. And they said there were students from all different parts of the world that would come at the time there. Nalanda remained a very important monastery for centuries. Then after that, later, I don't know, maybe 700 years ago, whatever. I'm not exactly sure about that. I'm very bad with dates, as you know. There was the moment where Buddhism have declined. There was the Islamic invasion in India, and then Buddhism was lost. The monasteries were destroyed, and not much has remained really from that. From not much in the sense of the housing and the people living there, but a lot have remained from Nalanda, which are the texts. Actually, almost all the philosophical texts that we study nowadays in the Tibetan Buddhism, most of them come from Nalanda. Nagarjuna, Asanga, Vasubandhu, Shantideva, so many great masters were from Nalanda. And until today, most of them Gendruk Chokni. The 6 ornaments and the 2 excellent ones are 8 great masters that they were from Nalanda. And almost all the studies we have on Buddhist philosophy are based on their texts nowadays, on their books. And one very important text that we have from Nalanda is the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. Just very briefly, the story of the text. Shantideva was not a very well seen monk in Nalanda. Samsara is everywhere, even in Nalanda at that time. And he was called the monk, the man of 3 actions, which was eating, sleeping, and going to the toilet. Okay. And they would not see him doing anything else. And he would sleep in the morning. That was not very well seen at the time. So it was like he didn't have at all a good reputation in the monastery. And what happened is that later, some monks in the monastery, they wanted really to send him away of the monastery. But they didn't have the right means for that. Because the only way to send someone out of the monastery is if he breaks the monastic vows, or if he breaks the rules of the monastery. If he doesn't follow the rules of the monastery, he's sent out of the monastery. If he doesn't keep his own personal vows, he's sent out of the monastery. And Shantideva was doing both very well. So they couldn't send him away. Okay. Nowadays, sometimes they send monks out of the monastery without having these problems, without breaking these rules. But this is another thing, for political reasons, whatever. But originally, the way how it should be is you can only send a monk out of the monastery. Actually, because of 3 reasons. Or he doesn't have any more, he breaks his own vows. He's not a monk anymore. Or because he doesn't keep the monastic rules. And there are some rules that you are out of the monastery. Other rules that you are not out, but some of them you are out. Or if there is no one anymore in the monastery that is willing to be responsible for him. Okay? Let's say because every monk in the monastery, even the abbot, not all monasteries, most monasteries like this, the monastery was like this. Even the abbot has another monk that is responsible for him. Every monk has one. So if there is a moment where, for whatever reason, no one wants to be responsible for me, then I cannot stay anymore in the monastery. Otherwise, there is no way of sending someone out. And they couldn't find a way to send Shantideva out. Then one day, after a number of years, there was a ceremony that is done every 15 days, which is the ceremony of the monastic vows, of the confession from the monks, where they openly admit their own mistakes and so on of not keeping the vows. They renew the vows. And there is a tradition of reciting the long version of the vows, the long sutra, and giving an explanation on a text. And nowadays this is done quite rarely, and is done only by the eldest abbots and so on, because most people cannot do it. But at that time, every monk needed to guide this ceremony after being in the monastery for a certain number of years. So when Shantideva arrived at that time, they said, okay, now some monks there, they said, now we have the opportunity to send him away. Because he doesn't know other than the 3 actions. Sure, he's not going to be able to recite this and give some teachings, no? So we will catch him. So they came and said, oh, you need to do this. And he said, yes, yes. And out of some not really good motivation, they prepared a very high throne for him without a staircase to go up, to put him in an embarrassment, a situation where he should be embarrassed. And but what happened is that the story says that when he went there, he put his hand and the throne became smaller, and he could go on the throne. Practically, what I believe is that he was able to sit on the throne without any embarrassment and without any difficulty. And then when he needs to say the text, he asked, what do you prefer? Me to recite a text that has already been written by someone else, or you want the text that I have written myself? And then they say, okay, now that's the good occasion, because he doesn't know the text to recite it with the other one. So he's just going to try to invent something now that's going to be terrible. So that's a good occasion to send him away. So they said, oh no, please make a text of your own composition. And I said, okay. So then he started to recite the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, which is one of the greatest texts that have ever been written in Buddhist literature. So when he started to recite this text, everyone was amazed, shocked by the beauty of the text. From the point of view of poetry, it's amazingly beautiful. And from the content, it's so perfect the way how the content is made, which is called the guide to the lifestyle of a bodhisattva. No? And then at that moment, when he reached the 9th chapter, the one that we are reading now, the one that we should continue, it is said that Shantideva started to levitate. And only those that knew how to levitate could actually listen and follow him. My own interpretation of that is that the 9th chapter is so difficult that only those that already had the understanding of it could actually follow him. Because the whole Bodhisattva Charyavatara is not a text that was written in order to teach us something, in the sense like to teach new knowledge, but instead to help us to familiarize and to meditate on what we already know, what we have already studied. So until we go to the first 7 chapters, even if we don't really know in forehand the content, it's quite easy. The 8th chapter on concentration is already a little bit more difficult. The 9th chapter of wisdom, it's really tough. Okay? Because it is a debate between the many philosophical schools, and it's explaining the correct view of reality. But it takes for granted that who is listening already has an understanding on that subject. So, if you just read like this, you get completely lost. The only way not getting lost is already having a good understanding of the many different philosophical schools. But I'm not much worried. I was very much worried the first time I started explaining the 9th chapter last year. Because I was saying, am I going to be able to explain it? Am I going to be able to make people understand something out of it? And finally, the thing was very good, so I'm very happy. And so we can continue on it. But one important point that I like to say first is that the Bodhisattva Charyavatara is an amazing text to guide us on our practice of meditation. One time, I was teaching this 6th chapter on patience in Brazil. And one person made a question, a little bit annoyed somehow. A person that is already practicing Dharma since many years. So the question was, okay, beautiful words. About patience it was. Beautiful words, but when I get angry, I get angry. You know? What's the point in talking about so much why we shouldn't get angry and so on? That finally we get angry. So what's the point on that? And that moment is not useful. Exactly. The point is that when do we need to meditate on patience? When we are not angry. Because in the moment that our emotions strongly arise, we cannot deal with them so easily. Instead, we need to apply the antidote when we are in a moment of calm, when we are not taken by these defilements. So how to do that? first thing, we need to know the antidote. For example, patience. We need to understand, and Bodhisattva Charyavatara guides us perfectly through it, why I shouldn't get angry. What are the faults of anger? What are the benefits of patience? Why there are no reason in the world why I should get angry. All of this is perfectly explained. So first we go to a process of analysis until we get the conceptual understanding. Oh, there is no reason in the world why I should get angry. When we get this clear with us, then it's not enough. It's just an intellectual understanding. And we don't work through intellectual understanding. The intellectual understanding has a very, very small value in our life from the point of view of our actions and change of behavior. We need to have positive experiences, and it's only through the direct experience that we slowly change. So how we are supposed to do that? We go into meditation. We generate the object of anger in this case. So we imagine a situation where we normally would get angry. We let the anger appear. And then we apply the antidote of the whole process of analysis that we have done. Okay? And in visualization, there is no one around us, we are alone with ourselves. But in visualization, we act differently. You know? Even from the point of view of the neuroscience nowadays, they explain that for ourselves, for the brain, it doesn't make much difference what we experience in actual reality from our five senses and what we experience through visualization. Okay. They say really the brain doesn't know much how to differ from one thing to the other. What we visualize and what we experience, what we see and what we visualize doesn't make much difference in this sense. So, for example, let's say I am walking and I put my hand in fire and I burn myself. Next time I get near to this, let's say the bottle is really hot and I touch the bottle and I burn my fingers. Or I get an electric shock. Next time I get near the bottle, am I going to put my hand there without any precaution? No. Why? Because I had an experience. So I try to avoid that. And this is one of the things that sometimes even generates us problem, because we have a negative experience in whatever type of situation. And then what we do after that is that whenever we go to an experience that is similar to the one that we have had first, we already react in forehand, before the actual experience, because we are worried that the same thing will happen. Because we work, we function out of experiences and not out of intellectual understanding. Okay? So we need to generate positive experience in order to act in that positive way. So how do we do that? We imagine the situation, for example, of anger. We let anger appear. Before doing that, we have analyzed the reasons why we shouldn't get angry. All the antidote part. And then, in the moment that we see anger and starting to arise in us truly, then we apply the antidote and we have an opposite reaction. In visualization. The next time I will be in front of the actual object of anger, with my whole full senses, I will have the memory of acting in a different way. And this will help me to change my attitude. Gradually, the memory of acting differently is not enough once or twice. Many times we need to repeat this. So one very important aspect is that we need to develop, from one side, the antidote. So we need to develop love and compassion and positive energy, faith with our Guru, faith in the Dharma. We need to have trust. We need to develop so many qualities, patience, and the understanding of all of this. We need to have the intellectual understanding why anger is not good, why jealousy is not good, and so on. But then this is not enough. This is just the first step. Then on the other side, we need to have a very strong courage to look ourselves in our own eyes and to deal with our own shadows, to deal with our own defilements. Because if I develop a lot of qualities and beautiful understanding of the Dharma and everything, and I keep it in one side, and then I keep on the other side my defilements, they will never talk, so there will be never result. It's like I can have a lot of medicine. Let's say I have whatever sickness, I have a cold, okay? And I really have a very bad cold, and I have a lot of medicine to cure my cold. But what happened? I just buy all this medicine and I keep them without taking them. I keep them in the house. Everywhere I go, I have the medicine there. But I never take it. I never make the encounter of the sickness and the medicine. The medicine is not medicine if not in touch with the sickness. The medicine cannot fulfill its function of cure if not in touch with the sickness. Okay? The medicine without the sickness can even become poison if we use it in the wrong way. Okay? The teachings, the practice, the Dharma, it becomes medicine when it touches our own defilements. So, that's why in the teachings from the Kadampa great masters, in the teachings of Lojong, it says, our enemies are actually our best friends. Why? Because it's through the difficult situations that our mental defilements arise, so we can see them, so we can apply the antidote into them. Because, if we are always avoiding every situation of difficulty and not letting our mental defilements appear, and when they appear, we are actually blaming someone else why we are angry or jealous and everything else. And on the other side, we are just trying to have good things with the Dharma and so on, which is very good. We are never really putting the two things together. So, I can have the whole understanding why I need to be patient and so on, but it's really going to make the change when I apply that into the sensation of impatience, of anger. I can have the whole understanding on wisdom. I can study all the 4 philosophical schools or the 5 philosophical schools. We have the Vaibhasika, the Sautantrika, the Chittamatra, the Madhyamika Sautantrika, the Madhyamika Prasangika. I can study all of them in perfection. I can know all of this by heart. But if I don't have the courage and the ability to look at my own ignorance, it will just be intellectual knowledge. Beautiful knowledge. But it won't make the actual change. It won't be an antidote, really. So that's why it's so important for us really to see our defilements, recognize them, not, oh, how bad I am, in the sense that I see it, okay, that's good, now I can catch him. It is said, we can never catch the thief if we don't know who it is. It said, the first thing that we need to do in order to destroy the enemy is recognize who the enemy is. If I have a lot of weapons and I train to fight and I get a lot of weapons and I prepare myself for war, but I don't know where is the enemy, and I have a fictitious enemy that is somewhere and I never know, I'm never going to be able to destroy my enemy. First thing I need to do in order to destroy the enemy is recognize who is the enemy. In our case here is ignorance. So before applying the antidote, we must see our own ignorance. And Shantideva is helping us to do that also. So I would like actually first to do the introduction to this chapter by helping us to first have a first glance of our own ignorance. I don't think we can do it to see it fully, but at least to have a glance, at least to be able to touch it slightly, to see our own ignorance that is so beautiful. Not ignorance, but to see it. I really think it's when we are able to see our ignorance, it answers so many questions. Finally, I understand why I suffer so much. I don't know yet how to get out, but I understood something at least. Look at that, It really gives us a sense of pleasure somehow. In the sense of give us a sense of hope, really. When we are able to see our ignorance, it means it's possible to eliminate it. It means it's possible to change. So, it's like seeing the problem is the first step for the solution. looking for this, having the solution without seeing the problem. We have done the next steps, but we forgot the first, so we are not going to have much result. Okay? So first I'm going to try just to do a short introduction on ignorance, so that after we go to wisdom. Okay? Bene. But just remember, if we induce the practice in Buddhism, I didn't say this before, the practice in Buddhism is to induce ourselves in a positive state of mind in order to have that experience, in order to do it spontaneously in daily life. So I will induce myself into a state of patience, into a state of love, into a state of compassion, into a state of wisdom, almost artificially. But I need to induce myself into a state of patience, having first induced myself into a state of anger. Then I apply the state of patience, and then gradually, then the patience is sincere. You know? Anyone can have patience without an object of anger. So that's where we need to do. So this process of self-inducing ourselves to a state of patience and love and wisdom is the actual path to transform our mind. Okay? That's what we mean by meditation. That's what we mean by familiarizing our mind positively. Okay? Okay, I would say we will stop now for lunch, and then after lunch I will start with the explanation in English. I remember everything, no problem. Ok? Quindi ci fermiamo per pranzo, ci riprendiamo alle 3:30. We come back at 3:30. Ok?
Su questo punto posso chiederti una cosa?
Sì. Sì, sì. Il modo di percepire influenza l'oggetto, ma che cosa vuol dire questo? È un discorso abbastanza vasto. Qual è la difficoltà che c'è questa? Ok, ognuno di noi può vedere il fiore in un modo diverso, ma al di là di questo, è un fiore o non è un fiore?
A questo punto di dubbio, ma penso di sì.
Che cosa è un fiore?
È l'organo riproduttivo di un vegetale.
Non tutti noi vediamo un fiore in quel modo lì. No? Però quando noi vediamo un fiore abbiamo un certo tipo di percezione. L'insetto che è nel fiore lo vive nello stesso modo?
No.
È un'altra cosa. Che cosa è l'acqua? Il pesce vede l'acqua nello stesso modo come lo vediamo noi? No. Quindi l'acqua in se stessa cambia realtà a secondo di dove ti trovi, chi sei, come la vivi. Quello che succede è che alla fine, se si va a cercare dov'è, ma c'è un qualcosa che è lì indipendentemente dall'osservatore, si cerca, alla fine non si trova. Quello che c'è è un'interdipendenza tra le parti che fa che le cose siano lì, però questa sorta di essenza in ogni cosa, per dire, non è che la realtà esiste e ognuno di noi la interpreta in un modo diverso. La realtà non esiste indipendentemente dall'osservatore, dalla percezione di ognuno di noi.
Quindi l'oggetto è, come dire, non è assoluto, ma è relativo alla...
Assolutamente sì. Poi, quando si entra in studi riguardo la fisica quantistica e così via, loro fanno degli studi di esperimenti che sono stati fatti che anche a me mi hanno lasciato anche perplessi su certe cose, però se quello che dicono, e credo che sia vero, no? C'è un libro che spiega queste cose abbastanza bello che si chiama La fisica dell'anima, di Amit Goswami, dove lui parla, per esempio, di diversi esperimenti in cui si prova che il valore che va attribuito all'oggetto cambia l'oggetto materialmente, la realtà materiale addirittura, no? Quindi questo anche è una delle cose di cui si parla, di cui si dice. Il punto che dobbiamo arrivare, che dobbiamo stare molto attenti è: la realtà esterna esiste, non è che non esista, però non esiste indipendentemente dalla realtà interna. Dobbiamo stare attenti a non entrare, a non cadere nel nichilismo, quindi non esiste nulla, perché, per esempio, se io credo profondamente nell'esistenza di Babbo Natale esiste o no? Se io credo, se io esco alla sera e vedo qua una corda, c'è una corda, un pezzo di corda per terra, io credo che sia un serpente e credo profondamente che sia un serpente. Nella mia realtà è un serpente o non è un serpente? Non è un serpente nella mia realtà. Perché? Perché non ha, anche se io credo profondamente che sia un serpente, non ha la capacità di esercitare le funzioni e le caratteristiche di un serpente. Io posso andare lì, calpestarlo, non mi pungerà, non mi farà niente. È la stessa cosa, sto camminando per strada, c'è un manichino di un negozio, io credo che sia una persona, profondamente, è una persona o non è? Non è, neanche nella mia realtà non è una percezione erronea. Se non ci fosse la realtà esterna, solo una realtà interna, ci sarebbe di tutto. Ok? E però per questo che la difficoltà di questo argomento è che la linea di equilibrio è molto sottile. Per questo che ci vuole tempo in cui si vede un estremo, si vede l'altro estremo e piano piano si trova un equilibrio. Ok?
Dicevo, in ogni caso è importante ricordare che l'oggetto cambia istante in istante. Il fiore di stamattina non è più il fiore di adesso e stasera sarà diverso. Quindi anche l'oggetto dalla sua parte cambia.
No, e questo assolutamente sì. C'è questa trasformazione costante. Perciò questa mattina avevamo appena finito la colazione, adesso dobbiamo mangiare, abbiamo un po' di fame, quindi ci fermiamo qui, ok?
Jetsun Kotse Rabdenchi Namkaratile Chochur Gepadam Losan Tempe Drome Sasungi Drove Munsel Tatune Gyurchi Nimo Dele Tsendele Nime Kuyan Delekshi Nitsen Taptu Delekpe Koncho Sumgi Jingelo Koncho Sumgi Modrupsol Koncho Sumgi Trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspicion. Oma honten balame sangye rinpoche, kyo balame tamchur, dren balame gendu rinpoche, kyabne kuncho sun la chepa.